The delivery person was hit by a car and thrown several meters away. After the driver got out of the car, he did not quickly save people, but he felt that he was the black man. What's even more disturbing is that the man used his last bit of strength to call for the driver's help. As a result, after the driver looked around and saw no camera, he quickly ran back to the car and backed off. Then the court ruled that this was an unintentional traffic accident, so the driver was only detained for a year and 2 months and then released. The dead man's mother went to the driver to demand justice, and the driver not only acted arrogantly, but also threw down the old woman. But he doesn't know that he's been targeted by a hero in the dark when he grabs his head in the water. Ji-yong grabs his head in the water. If there's nothing untoward, then 5 minutes later the driver is dead. Who are you? I'm the devil who came to... He's a cop by day, but at night he's a hero in the dark, punishing the bad guys. As long as criminals who escape the law end up dying at your hands. For example, this fat, bearded man, by falsifying records proving that he was mentally ill, was sentenced to only 12 years later. He's trying to be a cop, and that fat guy still doesn't know how to repent and does bad things, just for a trifle and hit the bus driver. But don't worry, he'll pay soon. Ji-yong is not far away. Ji-yong's goal is clear. If the law doesn't punish the bad guys, he will. Ji-yong follows the fat man and waits until he enters the deserted alley. But after he saw Ji-yong's thin appearance, he decided to strike first. But Ji-yong just took out this fat bastard with one blow. The fat man got up and put the iron in his pocket on his arm, but still couldn't fight back. After the fat man was punished, Ji-yong's path of taking evil to punish evil officially started. He watched on TV VI to thugs forced into people's houses to go heavy after the owner went up to stop them. They beat them badly injured. The gangster not only doesn't have to pay compensation, but bribes the court to prosecute the victim, and even warns of avenging their entire family. Upon hearing this news, Ji-yong immediately goes to the victims. At this time, the thug is peeing on the window of the victim's house. Ji-yong covers the window with wooden plank. The next day, he saw a clip of Tim, a doctor who raped a female patient, and he not only didn't get arrested, so he took his anger to the hospital. Ji-yong pressed the man's head on a table and injected him with a large amount of anesthetic. Things like this keep happening, and Mi-ryeo quickly finds out. If we're going to do live TV shows of these evils on television, surely the views will increase. It was exactly what Mi-ryeo had predicted. This news has just been made public and has the support of countless people. So the people even gave Ji-yong the nickname of the hero in the dark Vigilante. So that this news continues to get people's attention, Mi-ryeo begins to study all of Ji-yong's moves. And I found out that the time you're punishing bad guys is on the weekends. So she told her colleagues to get ready for the live broadcast. But they waited for 2 weeks and still didn't receive any news from Ji-yong. At a time when everyone was anxious, Mi-ryeo thought of Ra in a different way. That's taking advantage of Si-chun's case 7 years ago. This criminal's name is Young Dog-han, but they don't know that. After Dog-han's identity was revealed, they can't wait for Ji-yong. On the contrary, once again they bring danger to Si-jun. Dog-han wearing a helmet pretending to be a deliveryman arrives at Si-chun's door. The police are on patrol. The police saw him stealthily. The police asked him to open the food box to... The Dog-han immediately took out the knife. Very quickly the police were defeated. At this moment, the sound of two people fighting was heard by Si-jun. In times of chaos, she escaped from the control of the Dog-han, then run away. But when I was about to run downstairs, the Dog-han caught up. Now everyone is yelling at me. Now I have to kill you, and then in prison to live comfortably for the rest of his life. At the same time, Mi-ryeo receives the news, but when she arrives, Ji-yong safely retreats. Ji-yong will punish a man named Do-yeep, the crime he committed. It also makes people feel cold on their backs. Ji-yong goes to a bar. The girl in the bar has a great body. Pull me aside. She asked him if he wanted to spend a beautiful night with her. Ji-yong didn't answer the girl that stared at Do-yeep on the opposite side. 3 years ago, Do-yeep and his 2 accomplices robbed a convenience store. It killed 3 people. Finally, Do-yeep paid for 3 lives with 2 years and 6 months in prison. Today was his first day out of prison, but Do-yeep does not repent, bragging to my juniors. The law can't do anything to him. The girl sees Ji-yong staring at Do-yeep. She forcibly dragged him out into the hallway, then they kiss. Ji-yong is dreaming. The next day he woke up, but this doesn't affect his determination to destroy Do-yeep. After a few days follow-up, he discovered Do-yeep's money trail thanks to the contraband trade, hidden in a tattered house. To be able to destroy Do-yeep's without revealing his identity, first Ji-yong, he sent anonymous denunciations to the Crime Prevention Agency. Tomorrow morning, put a paper on the Do-yeep and make him confess. The purpose of this is very simple. Not only can Do-yeep escape the police pursuit, caught by the police, Ji-yong can even lure Do-yeep back to the bungalow for money.
너 누구냐? 야, 그거 내 거야. 건들지 마.
역시 하늘도 이걸 바라는 거야.
The name Do-yeep seems like a formidable opponent, but when he fights, he's really weak. Do-yeep has just been hit and his mind is spinning. Ji-yong took the opportunity to use an iron chain to kill his neck. They begged you to forgive them, but you still killed them. At last Do-yeep knew wrong, but Ji-yong didn't come here to hear him apologize.
사죄해.
He immediately strangled him, causing Do-yeep to die on the chain. The next day, news of Do-yeep's death has been of particular interest to the police. They think that punishing criminals is the job of the police. Heroes in the dark don't have the right to kill. So they formed a task force to catch heroes in the dark. The captain of the crime squad, Jo Heon, is a scary person. Not only can he distort a coin with one finger, he can even use his bare hands to push the car that's blocking the way out. So this time Ji-yong has a strong opponent. Pressure up and down. Team leader Jo Heon led subordinates to chase the dark hero on a large scale. Later, he discovered that the man who was captured wasn't the true hero of the darkness. Another party. Ji-yong watching TV. I know who to believe. The grandmother who treated him so well from childhood to adulthood was killed by it. Turns out an hour ago, she was on her way home after she went to collect aluminum and plastic because she stopped the supercar. So the car owner angrily kicked his foot and stabbed, deserving to die. These cartons are despised by my grandmother. The man saw his wife coming to stop the car, not let him go. The car owner is quite unruly, but he despised the power of the passerby. He's been hit 10 times in a row. After the police arrived, they arrested the owner and put him in the car. Do you know who I am? The guy who walks. He was also arrested for intentionally beating the injured person. It's very clear that the car owner is guilty of attempted murder, but the court ruled this to be an accidental accident. Watch this. Ji-yong holds her hand. He's prepared to demand justice for his dead grandmother. On the other side of the investigation team leader Jo Heon, he was expecting Ji-yong to kill the car owner. So Jo Heon gives his subordinates 24/24 supervision of the car owner. But Ji-yong is not stupid. He's trying to generate fake information about a car crash to get the guards to go somewhere else. How could you hit a stopped car? I'll be right downstairs. Then he snuck into the room and warned the owner. You've clearly broken the law, but you hide in the hospital and you're protected. So I thought, crime can only be punished by crime. Where are you going? Someone said they hit my car. When the police found out the car was fine, they were tricked by Ji-yong. Ji-yong is out of the hospital. Right at this moment, the owner of the car was thrown from upstairs by another hero in the dark. Ji-yong saw that person preparing to drive away in an ambulance, so halfway he forced himself to jump in the car. Deserving to die startled me. It's nice to meet the hero. Ji-yong and the masked man on the roof. He claims to be a fan of Ji-yong. He hopes to work with Ji-yong, together to punish those with even greater backgrounds. But Ji-yong says you kill people with your principles. He just didn't expect the man in the mask to get his hands on you. Ji-yong doesn't want to know his true identity.
장순 너 왜 죽였어?
기지가 더 없어.
Just like that, two people fight a fiery battle, then who goes home? In fact, the identity of the man in the mask. It's not trivial. His name is Gang OK, and he's the vice president of DK Corporation. From a young age, he dreamed of becoming a hero, but due to his special circumstances, he couldn't realize that dream. To fulfill the dream, he's willing to be the man behind Ji-yong's back. After learning that Mi-ryeo has a video of Ji-yong, he's not sorry. He spent a lot of money to invest in television, to take away the evidence. In fact, Gang OK and Mi-ryeo are both Ji-yong's protectors. One is for living a dream, It's because of the number of people watching television. On the other side, Jo Heon finds out that it's very possible the hero in the dark is a cop. That is, he took the file to the Korean National Police University, just in time to pass by Ji-yong. At this point in my heart, I already have the answer. Because last time he was in the hospital, he also passed by Ji-yong. Jo Heon not directly cocking Ji-yong. It's because Ji-yong's police status is very special. Once this gets out, it's going to cause a stir. So he thought that one way is to find the worst of the people who imitated Ji-yong as the culprit instead. But the premise is not to let anyone investigate the clues related to Ji-yong. He goes to places where Ji-yong used to appear to destroy surveillance. The video was taken by the brother of the man who died in a hospital. So he went looking for his brother and wanted the enemy to stop investigating. Starting from now, I'll talk to you in a rude way. Sunu takes off his shirt. Looks like he's going to teach Jo Heon a lesson. Jo Heon just took a step forward. He hurriedly locked himself in a safe zone. The next day, the principal discovered the wound on Ji-yong's face. He asked why Ji-yong was injured. Ji-yong stood speechless. At this point, the police suddenly showed up. "Hello, Professor. What's wrong?" The police are looking for Kim Ji-yong. The police brought a girl. The girl came to thank Ji-yong for helping her beat her drunk harasser. So on Ji-yong's face, wounds are a matter of course. In fact, the girl's appearance was arranged by Jo Heon. After this, Ji-yong begins to worrying about her circumstances, so he agreed to meet with Gang OK. On the other hand, Ji-yong doesn't punish the bad guys. It also means that Mi-ryeo's show has no viewers, so she targets the evil criminal group Seoul Future. She's hoping she can get Ji-yong to show up. That's the Seoul Future crime group. Have a very special hobby. He likes to let pigs eat people. The owner of these pigs, Samdu, had a dream. He didn't know he was going to die at the hands of a female reporter. Mi-ryeo leads Theo colleagues to investigate. When she opened the door, she was scared. There are thousands of these machines that are manufactured illegally. It's all working. Mi-ryeo immediately turned on the camera in her hand to collect 10 pieces of evidence. Just as she was about to get important evidence, the door suddenly opened. An assassin walked in. To give Mi-ryeo more time to escape. While my colleague knocked down the king, he was stabbed a few dozen times. Mi-ryeo takes this opportunity to quickly drive away, but by the time Mi-ryeo brought the police back here, except for the machines from the warehouse, his colleague's body also disappeared. But not all in hand. Mi-ryeo still despite publishing the video. Can't give Samdu a fatal blow, but at least it'll get Ji-yong's attention. After seeing the Samdu video he sent his men to ambush in the parking lot to assassinate. If there is no Jo Heon in time to find, Mi-ryeo is dead. After removing the danger, Jo Heon advises don't lure heroes into the dark. But Mi-ryeo doesn't understand what Jo Heon. What are you talking about? You can't catch a hero in the dark, or don't want to arrest him. He was quickly found guilty on behalf of Jo Heon alone to Samdo's pig. From here a great battle officially broke. I'm the police officer. Get everyone on their... After dealing with these people, Jo Heon does according to his plan. He said Samdu's boys are heroes in the... Then let the reporter cover it. At a time when everyone thought it was... Jo Heon can't believe Ji-yong's actions ruined Jo Heon. Midnight Ji-yong follows Samdu's juniors into... Ji-yong grabbed his hair and pulled it down from... Ji-yong finally took the records of the drug dealer Samdo and opened an online... After this, Mi-ryeo suddenly finds out the gang of Samdu that Jo Heon not a hero in the dark. Another side Jo Heon. He was angry that Ji-yong had broken his plan, so he blocked Ji-yong's way. Ji-yong decided to admit it candidly when he saw Jo Heon. He represents the odd faction to talk to Jo Heon, but Jo Heon thinks that the criminal acts to punish the evil of Ji-yong was essentially a kind of legal provocation. After the two sides fought a fierce battle, Ji-yong tells a horrible secret. Sam-do and the police chief killed people who are protected by law. When you see that scene, does justice still exist? If you can do it, I'll follow you. Or I'll prove it to you. After Ji-yong was injured by Jo Heon, he was taken to the hospital by Gang-ok. As Ji-yong's protector, he didn't forget to take a picture as a souvenir. On the other hand, because many days have passed, Jo Heon still can't catch Ji-yong, so Jo Heon was fired by his superiors. Even if you know your superiors have criminal connections. But now in my hands, there is no evidence, so I just keep quiet. Mi-ryeo life wasn't easy either. Last time after she publicly denounced Samdo bribed the television station to fire Mi-ryeo. Ji-yong wants to let Mi-ryeo continue to expose the crime of Sam-do. He specially asked Gang OK to sponsor Mi-ryeo. It was Gang OK very quickly. Mi-ryeo has established her own media channel and also conducted online television declaring war on Samdo. Declare war with Samdo. I will continue to investigate and report on the crimes behind Seoul Future until we find out the truth. I believe that those who believe in justice will accompany me. Those who believe in justice will walk with me. And all of us who are fighting for the right, they are heroes in the dark. After Ji-yong recovered, Asi looked at the records. He took it from a previous action and found out that a church was behind the money laundering for Samdo. So he broke into the church and took control, and then he copies the evidence to a
나랑 손 잡는다고 했다.
through the Iron Brain USB for also at this very moment. Ji-yong and the gang finally started work. According to Ji-yong, the evidence alone only killed the priest. Everybody's focused on money. So Ji-yong went to the church while the priest was
để giết hết bọn chúng.
The priest was a hero in the killing was reported in the. This officially infuriated the director. At the same time, Gang OK give USB after returning to Mi-ryeo immediately reported. Now the assassin is sent by Samdo Hang Tran Hua. Jo Heon is afraid of Mi-ryeo being avenged by the Samdo group, so he told Mi-ryeo not to report, or soon the assassin will. But Mi-ryeo's attitude is very tough. Please leave immediately. Don't let the audience's view be. Don't say nothing to me next time. Let's get out of the room and get rid. Then the assassin stalked him from. Although Cho more like a monster but in the middle of it, another assassin comes along. When two assassins come to, clearly not more than Just as Jo Heon was about to stand up, suddenly appears to join. The assassins are retreating. Heroes in the dark. What are you two? See you. That day Ji-yong attacked Samdo's money. He stole 10 billion won of dirt. Then right on the wall. The police and criminals are. After Mi-ryeo announced Samdo is really he came to the director to discuss, but the chief wanted to protect him. Tell him to automatically take all. He heard that, and Samdo's heart was. He decided he was going to kill. But the problem, how can he tempt a hero in the dark? The first person he thought of was me. So the next day a gang of gangsters stormed me. She eyes that the gangsters are about. Mi-ryeo suddenly thought of. She's installing miniature cameras in when they come in, it'll be. As a result, they were actually trapped. But the last thing they found out about me, and when she was taken away by the gang OK. At the same time, Ji-yong sees that Mi-ryeo only when you get to the place where the danger has. After this, Ji-yong said that innocent people should not, so he set up a trap to overthrow the chief. He left the director's evidence in his, then report anonymously to the new chief of the They've actually found the evidence. But when the captain took the evidence, he went to the superintendent's office. The captain just needed a phone call. And the captain, news of the new captain's death, soon moved. Now he's seen the darkness of police collusion, so he came looking for Ji-yong. The death of the new captain made Ji-yong very. It also sped up the pace of his. And Samdo thought he'd be stopped by. But this time he decided to spare Cho. Let Ji-yong continue to. Ji-yong destroys another Samdo, and at the same time, he wants to have one last fight with Samdo. After the challenge letter was Samdo brings hundreds of juniors to the stadium. They stormed into the surveillance room and fired, and then they'll monitor all the cameras in at the same time. Samdo told them to pay attention to them. As night fell, a man in a black jacket walked just as they're about to arrest people. A lot of people in black. Sambu knows, and it turns out it's a music party with the theme of heroes in the dark. Ji-yong and Gang OK are now mixed up in the line of people, and the assassins are looking for some people but I can't find a hero in. Right at this moment, Gang OK actively revealed his identity to attract. Then Ji-yong took the initiative. At the same time, directly exposed their crime. The scene where Ji-yong was being hunted was seen put on a bulletproof. Then to the stadium, Ji-yong and Gang OK continue to fight gangsters, but Samdu as. When they were about to succumb, Jo Heon, I'm a cop. Put your weapon. Do what I say. I'll have you as human being. What are you doing? Kill him. Kill them all. Samdo is currently in doubt. It can't be stopped. He broke into the bus and hacked. In a difficult moment, another hero in the dark appeared. When Ji-yong takes off his opponent's hat, he is surprised to find out that he is. Not long after a large number of police, Samdu took the opportunity to escape. Ji-yong chases. The result runs into an underground. Jo Heon is also. When justice is about to triumph over evil, the chief appears, firing several. The captain saw that the gun was out of ammunition, and Ji-yong and Jo Heon were immediate. Ji-yong swims to the front to climb, quickly ran to the chief. Ji-yong and Ji Heon, they represent the odd, must have defeated the evil. Here is the full story of the movie. Do you see this movie or before the 10? How do you rate this movie? Please send the answer below. About comments, let us. Thank you for your interest. Follow us. Bye. See you later.